welcome to StoryHive On Location, Calgary. I'm your host, Nicolas, and I'm thrilled to bring you a new episode produced with the support of TELUS STORYHIve. Stay tuned, because I can't wait to show you what comes next here in the beautiful city of Calgary. Today, I am joined by Laura Laithwaite.
Yes.
Laura is a Calgary-based painter, and she's here to showcase her work.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I wanted to ask you, if you weren't a painter, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
So for me, painting has been a significant part of my life. So to imagine not doing it, I feel like I probably would be not in a great place. Like my early 20s, I definitely fell far from my art, and I didn't have that much purpose. So I'm just glad I do have it. It's definitely something that is a huge part of my life. So yeah.
Did you grow up here in Calgary?
I did, yeah. I've lived in Calgary my entire life. The southeast almost all my life. So
which part? I'm from the southeast.
Oh yeah, Deer Run?
Oh, from Deer Run.
Yeah.
No, I'm from the deep southeast, from like
okay.
Chaparral, Sundance.
Yeah, I live down there now, yeah.
Yeah?
The other side, south, or near Mackenzie Town. But,
Oh yeah, they're building a ton of stuff over there.
Yeah.
It's always busy.
Yeah.
Always busy.
Yeah, but yeah, I've lived here my entire life. My family's lived here. Like my parents grew up in Calgary, so we're
Generational Calgarian.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, we don't move. Yeah, but yeah, we've even lived in the same house pretty much my mom lives in the same house for my entire life, so we're comfortable here.
I was going to ask, are there any aspects of the city that have inspired your paintings?
Definitely, especially now that you're seeing a huge art wave in the downtown core with all the murals that are popping up. I think Calgary's really, when you travel outside of Canada, you see it everywhere. So it's nice that Calgary's kind of catching up with the art scenes and the breweries and things like that, where they're have all the art and stuff. But definitely Calgary, I have a painting of the Calgary skyline, all the mountains. I love, I just started doing landscapes. I wasn't totally into them before, but the mountainscapes.
That's what everyone has been saying. That's what everyone has been talking about, the huge art wave that's hit Calgary.
Yeah.
That it's growing and that it's allowing people to really come together as an art community.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the first time in the city's history, but it's certainly an impactful time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because you really didn't see it much before.
And you might know more. You grew up here. You've lived your whole life.
Well, yeah, and like murals, things like that, like you just didn't see them really. And now there's definitely, with the breweries all popping up, and there's just a lot more in the inner city neighborhoods. You can just tell all the what are they called? Electrical boxes. You can see that they're all painted. Like they're slowly catching up to other cities in terms of what you see for art out there, for sure. And small businesses, you find local artists a lot hanging up in there, and it's nice.
I feel like there's been a push to really find an identity for the city, to really give it a big boost in personality.
Yeah, definitely, because it was lacking a little bit in that. So, yeah.
And when it came to art, was it something you always had? Was it something that grew within you? Were you an art kid as a kid?
Yeah. I remember the moment that I really started loving art. And it was like when I was in elementary school, there was a some sort of project that we had to do, that we had to draw something. And I remember when I drew it, like we were still at the age where like you were just drawing stick figures and things like that, right?
I'm still drawing stick figures.
Right? And I remember it was what was I drawing? It was an Inuit lady with like the fur coats and stuff, and it must have been some sort of a project about that. And I was like, I can't draw this, like I need to do the fur a certain way, and I started smudging my pencils and stuff.
Giving it different textures.
Yeah. And then I remember handing it in, and my teacher was just blown away that I was doing all the shading and everything else. And my mom put it up, and she was proud of me. And I think that was what solidified it, because like I was like, I just knew that I had some sort of talent for it, but I didn't really know what.
Yeah, like a vision, sort of eye for it.
Obviously, at our age, like no other kids were really doing that. So then that's what kind of solidified it for me. And then I did art pretty much my entire life. I started taking it in school and doing stuff like that. But yeah, there was phases where it dropped off for a bit, but.
That's amazing that you can still recall that first project.
Yeah.
Do you still have it?
Yeah. I was looking for it a few years ago. I don't think I do, but my mom does keep like everything, so it might be buried somewhere, but I was looking for it because it was very impactful for me. I remember that for sure, that I think that moment did make me want to be an artist for sure. Yeah.
Such an incredible imagination when you're growing up.
Yeah.
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 It's hard to hang on to that.
Totally. And I lost that for a long time, and then you don't realize until it comes back how much you missed it, for sure. But
how did you get that back?
I think it was going through, like, I went through a lot of like mental depression struggles, things like that. And then honestly, when COVID hit, that was it was actually right before COVID. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get back into my drawings and paintings, because for a good chunk of my 20s, I wasn't painting very much at all. And then COVID hit, and it was almost like a blessing in disguise, because now I didn't really have like FOMO that I was missing out on things.
Everybody else was everybody else was missing out.
Yeah. So for me, I was like, I just like bunkered down, and I just started drawing and painting like crazy, and watching videos on YouTube on techniques and things like that, and then I saw like my skills just getting better and better, and then yeah.
It sort of went up from there.
Yeah, but it
Nice.
definitely was like, when you're going through struggles or anything like that, it's like a meditation. It's like, I don't have to think about anything. Like I just kind of like get into the creative process, and like, so getting back into it, it's like, that's what I realized I was missing in my 20s, was that like time to just calm down and get out of my own head for a while. And yeah, so it was good. It's good.
Yeah, it's good to hear that you found that again, and that you were able to bring back those memories and express yourself again through the art form.
Yeah. And just put all those emotions into something that's a positive thing that people can look at and see, and get enjoyment from.
I find that it's healthy for everything. Mm-hmm. That's really a highlight of art, mm-hmm. And hobbies in general. It gets you to stop being in your own way for a while.
Yeah.
And look at the bigger picture, or even just enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
being an artist, did you ever go to post-secondary for art?
No.
No?
No. And honestly, that is one of my regrets, is not doing that. Mostly because I feel like, one, you get to meet a lot of like-minded people. But also, I just feel like it would have been nice to go and learn more of the ways of getting your art out there. It's been a long kind of trying to figure it out on my own.
Yeah, getting that tempo going, getting that style going, and getting that network going, like you said, building up that community.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, none of my friends are really even hugely into art. So for me, it was like, okay, well, where do I begin? So, I'm going to go to art museums. But then those are also a lot of things that it's like you meet people, but you don't at the same time. It's definitely hard to find like a community. And actually, that's why social media was huge for me, which social media can go both ways, where it can be
consuming, it can give and take at the same time.
Yeah, but I found that was a huge networking for my meeting like-minded people who are into art and talking back and forth and things like that, because I don't have that fully here in Calgary. I don't have a huge art group of friends or anything like that, so that's been big for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, being able to meet people from around the world.
Yeah.
Share some experiences and that
and
stuff.
And where we're all kind of in the same boat of trying to figure out, the whole logistics of trying to sell art. If all that stuff. Yeah,
that's one big question that I had for a lot of painters and artists in general is, how do you price yourself? How do you sell yourself? What conditions do you account for when you're talking to a client, when you're talking to someone who wants a commission?
Yeah.
I've gotten some responses where some people charge per hour, some people charge based on the cost of materials, sometimes the size of the project. And I'm curious, how do you do it?
Yeah, I asked myself that for a long time, because I was like, I don't know, where to even start, because you see some art that's selling for thousands of dollars, and then and you're just like, whoa, it's a bit overwhelming. But for me, what I did is I went to a lot of different places around Calgary that showcase art, sell it on the walls, see what other artists around Calgary are selling theirs for that's similar. But then I also take into consideration how much time I put into my paintings and how much I spent on what the canvas,
materials,
materials, canvas.
Because they don't come cheap.
No. I paint on wood too, and they're even more expensive than canvas. But I prefer the wood.
What's the difference? What do you prefer about it?
Canvas has a certain texture to it, and also I literally like to put my paintings on my lap when I'm painting, and with canvas it doesn't stay flat, obviously. So with the wood ones, I'll sit there and I'll have it on my lap, and they're just more durable too. Transferring them around, I like that they're more durable. And when I'm sending them, I've sent a couple. I've sold paintings. They're kind of better.
You've shipped them out?
Yeah, and it's easier. Well, they're just less fragile, so it's easy to.
Mail can be a bit rough.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know the difference between it. I don't paint. So.
Yeah. I like painting with both, but wood I prefer. Just honestly, mostly because I do like to paint. Have it on my lap a lot of the time.
I wanted to ask you about the piece behind you.
Yes.
So what inspired you to paint it? What's it called?
So this one's called Land Before Time.
Yeah.
And actually, it was, I painted it for my boyfriend. And it was funny because when we first started talking, he told me I was a unicorn. So ever since then, he always tells me I'm his unicorn. And then we went on a date to Drumheller. And he got a necklace with T-Rex on it. And so I just kind of incorporated both of them and then did some collage. So a lot of these flowers and stuff are actually collage.
And you cut them out and you put them on there.
Yeah. And then, we actually watched The Land Before Time together. And that's it. That's how it happened. But it was painted for him.
What made you choose the colors?
Colors, again, my boyfriend, he always wears these colors, and usually I go for more like bright, bold colors, but he's more of like a very light, like browns, grays colors. So I kind of tried to incorporate that. And then the unicorn, because it was the blues, I liked how the blues went with the blue unicorn, and
like mixed it in there together.
Yeah, and I wanted to make the skull look like older, so I went with yellows, kind of more earthy colors. Yeah.
How long did it take you to paint?
I would say I was done it in probably a month and a half. But like I said, I work full time, so that's a couple hours after work here and there on the weekends. But yeah, about a month and a half probably from start to finish. Yeah.
And as a mixed media project, is this something you had done before? Was it something new?
So I've done it before. This is the first time I kind of did a lot of the flowers and stuff. Like in some of these other ones, like if you look up here at this one, the pattern in the hat, that's actually paper that I cut out.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so I do it and up there, like that, the same patterns up there. That's all paper. So that was pretty much the first time I'd done it. So I'm slowly getting more and more into it now. And I really like it. It's also another like thing that's like super calming, and just like sitting there and cutting out all these like little flowers and stuff. Hours can go by doing it, and I can do it while I watch TV or so yeah.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's all just, honestly, it's like experimenting, and what works, and sometimes it does not at all, and you just have to chalk it up as not working, but this was, yeah.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, when it came down to the henna artwork, how did you get into it?
Yeah, henna.
And I see that you've got some on your left hand.
I made sure I had some today. Yeah, actually I got into it. So growing up, I always saw, like, we had a lot of Middle Eastern girls or like Indian girls in my class that would have it on their hands, and I always thought it was the coolest thing. And I actually went to Thailand in 2017, and I went into this girl's art studio, and she had all her art up, and I thought it was so cool because she's like on the beach and she's got her own little art studio. I was like, she's living my dream right now. But she did henna, and I couldn't afford, and we were also backpacking in Thailand, so I couldn't like necessarily buy one of her paintings, but so I got her to do the henna on my hand, and I loved it. And I was like, I should learn how to do henna. And I've been doing it ever since.
And you make designs, you draw it all on your hand.
Yeah.
How different is it drawing on your hand compared to the canvas, compared to the wood? Because it must be rough.
Yeah, it's hard because you have to really keep still, and you also have to like make sure that you're not smudging what you've already done.
Right. Yeah.
So you put one hand down and it's over and it's all messed up. And then once once it's smudged too, like it starts to dye your skin pretty instantly. So yeah, if you even one small move is...
You end up with a smudge for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You gotta wear gloves.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened to you?
No. Oh, yes. When I was first starting, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And it takes a lot of practice, for sure.
I can imagine, drawing on your hand, your skin is very, very malleable compared to the canvas, compared to the wood.
Yeah.
And making sure the patterns are even.
Yeah.
Making sure that the lines are straight.
Yeah. And you've only got one shot at it. I have so much respect for like the weddings when you see they've got their whole arm, like that must take hours and they're so beautifully done. Like it's for sure an art form, like a beautiful art form.
Knowing how to do henna, do you think you'd ever be able to do tattoos?
Yeah, so that's kind of also what prompted me to try henna, is because I wanted to be a tattoo artist at one point. And so this was like a cool way to like do it without obviously it being permanent and trying things out. It's not the same obviously, but same sort of concept, designing the tattoos. So yeah, I definitely have thought about being a tattoo artist. I've changed my mind, I think, about it.
How so?
Well, I did get an apprenticeship to be one at one point. And for me, like, I really like art that's, like, I like to do it from my heart and what I love. And I think turning it into a job for me, I just feel like it's something that I do for myself to keep me, like we were saying earlier, and to have it as a job that you have to do every single day, 8 hours a day, I just don't know if I would want to do that.
What was the first time you showcased your painting in a market, in an art show?
Yeah, the first time was at the Central Library downtown. I've showed my art up in there a couple of times now.
When they were just opening it up?
No, they do it all the time.
Okay.
So, well, I don't know now if it's still open, but you can apply to be, your art be put up there. And there's different sections of the library that they hang local artists up for a month.
How did it feel putting your artwork there? Was it your first time that you were kind of showcasing it?
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah. It was really nerve-wracking for sure. But it's one of those things where you just have to get out there and do it. And it was an awesome experience. They were so nice. And it's great exposure. I had people reaching out to me, and I did sell a couple of paintings, and yeah, it was cool.
When it comes to this one,
yeah,
I wanted to ask you, how did you manage to do these patterns and all of that?
Yeah, so
this isn't paper like the other one. No. You actually painted all these patterns on here.
Yeah, so for this guy, what I did was for all the colors, so this is the first layer of the painting. Mm-hmm. So I did a design at the very back of it, which is all the colors. Then I blocked out everything else in black. And then, so I left all these open with the background on there. And then I painted it all black, and then I started adding different patterns that kind of showcase like being in the night sky. And then I started just making different layers and layers. This is like a whole bunch of white layers watered down to like fade it into the black.
Into like the black background?
Yeah. So it's multiple layers kind of all adding up to each other.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really, really impressive how it all started. I would have imagined that you started with the black background first.
Yeah.
And then drew the white layer.
Yeah.
And then this color layer was the final one.
The final one.
I didn't expect it to be the background.
The complete opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I do with a lot, like most of my paintings is what I do is even if I don't have like, I don't know what I'm going to paint and I'm kind of in like a artist block or whatever they like to call it, where you just don't know what you want to paint, I'll spray paint or I'll just do like crazy kind of abstract painting as the base to kind of get it. And then once I've done that, I then figure out from the colors what I kind of want to do with it. And then the parts that I really like of the background is where I strategically place things where I want to keep that poking out. Because I think it looks cool. Like this part here where it's like dripping down, I really liked that. So I kept that in there and then, you know.
Filling up the composition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the patterns to it.
Yeah.
I think it's just a lot of creativity that goes into it. And I feel that every shape is unique.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Every shape has some sort of identity to it. Different sections have different shapes, but they all blend so well together.
Yeah.
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 What would you advise someone who is just starting out as a painter here in Calgary?
Yeah. I would advise them to just never give up and really find why you're doing it. Because if you're just looking at to sell money or to sell them to make money, you know, like you're going to get discouraged. It's all about the process. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, you enjoyed making it. So that's what should really matter. And just practice. And if you don't like it, paint over it, start all over again and make something else. And eventually you'll start to see progress. And yeah, just don't get down on yourself if you're not, if you don't think you're good, or, you know, because I was like that for a long time. I got down on myself, you know. You'd show somebody some of your art and you wouldn't get the reaction you wanted, or, you know, and you're just like, oh, maybe I suck. And you have like that negative internal dialogue that's like, oh, I shouldn't even be I shouldn't even paint, right? And I think for people, especially starting out, that's a huge thing. It's like people give up before they can even get good at it. So just keep going.
Have you ever had to do that? Start all over with a painting? We have a section here in the show that we like to call horror stories.
Yeah.
And I usually ask the person I'm interviewing, what is your horror story?
Yeah.
But there's a catch.
Yeah.
And that catch is that you have to have learned something from it. There needs to be something that you learn from that experience that you apply to future experiences. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to your painting, is there a horror story?
No, not for my paintings, but for one time when I was like 18 years old, I reached out to a tattoo artist because I wanted to be a tattoo artist. and I hadn't really put like, I hadn't put in the time to really get good, like really good. And I just reached out to him. I was like, hey, like, you know, I'm looking to become a tattoo artist. And just wanting to get his advice on it. And he basically just like was not nice.
Why?
And it was like, oh, and it was like crushing. Like, no, you need to be way better, basically.
Like, did you show them some of your designs?
Yeah, right. Like,
Okay.
send him a photo of like a drawing or something, and reached out, and it was being really vulnerable because, you know, like it just totally got shut down. And I was like horrified and just like so embarrassed. But for me, like that was a huge part of when I did like want to give up, you know, and just be like, like, yeah, I just suck. And like, because that's how he made me feel, right? And I think, if you just give up in those hard times, then you're never gonna know where you could go with it.
You're never gonna know the good times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's hard to overcome those like horror stories of just like pure embarrassment, but then, you know, like you got to overcome that and then like really show yourself that you can do what you put your mind to, and
Show some resilience.
yeah. Totally. Yeah. Because it's the people who give up that have regret. And I mean, you can't be hard on yourself for trying, you know. And so what if somebody was a jerk about it? Whatever. You got to keep going.
And all these years later,
Yeah.
you're doing tattoos.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And making paintings that I love. And then to find people like you who also like see beauty in them is like a joy for me, right? So, yeah.
When it comes to Calgary, how have you seen the art scene evolve throughout these years? How differently has it changed?
I think just with the growth of people, you just see a lot of different art. You're just seeing a lot more artists coming out. I know that there's the Bump mural program, which every summer they're doing tons of murals downtown and things like that. So it's definitely evolving. But yeah, you just get more and more people here, obviously, and you get to see a lot more different types of art, which is awesome.
And then I also wanted to talk about that painting.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the artwork that I've seen on your page, a lot of it has just sort of pastel colors that come along with the painting. Mm-hmm. When it came to this one, I think it really showcases the different shapes that you love shapes.
Yeah.
You love to use shapes in your art. And at the same time, those blues you were talking about with that painting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love bright colors, and I like to layer them up and kind of see what comes out of them. But then I also like to, I will use either black or whites or like some neutral tones to kind of take it down a little bit. So that's kind of the white or the kind of light yellowish color in there. But I love blue. Blue's like my favorite color.
I'm curious about how you managed to do like this sort of echo effect.
Yeah. That's part of my digital. So that's where the digital comes in great. So I got her I drew her out digitally, and then I basically copied what I had drawn and started moving it on different areas of the canvas, kind of seeing where I liked it to echo out. And then I liked the whole idea that it's the same girl in the same position, but then the colors of the background are different. So it makes it almost look, it like changes her perspective even though it's the same image, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, it's almost like it's got this otherworldly aspect to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with all the different layers of the backgrounds and stuff, it really makes you kind of, you don't really know where I started and where I ended. It's all kind of...
Where did you start? Where did you end?
Yeah, like...
Or it's okay if you don't want to reveal it. It's okay if you want to keep it
on the DL.
A magic trick, you know?
Yeah, there's there's probably about 4 different layers of all these behind here. And then I also put some there's this glue that you can peel off. So once I did a few of those, I put some of these glue patterns around here that you kind of see here as well. Mm-hmm. And then I put even more layers. So then the old layers are peeking out with the new layers. So you just can't really tell where it all began. But there's definitely some blue layer at the very bottom there.
Do you ever get lost making these? It seems like you bring about this theme of never knowing where it ends, never knowing where it begins.
Yeah.
So in the process, I imagine you take a break. I imagine you sleep.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
between strokes, between brush strokes. Do you ever get lost in this process?
Oh, for sure. There'll be hours that nobody will hear from me, and I'm just like, holy, it's already 1:00 in the morning because I'm just doing it. But yeah, it's also hard to know when to stop because it's like a whole process. You're just like, is it done yet? Is it not done yet? I don't know. Should I add more layers? Should I not? But yeah, the end layers are always the drips at the very end.
Yeah, it seems to be a key signature when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
And again, you get to see the patterns.
Yeah.
And you explained that was paper?
Yep, paper.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, it's an awesome piece.
And that is a new process for me, is the collaging with the paper. So I'm really looking forward to doing more pieces like that and how I'm going to incorporate it in new pieces too.
How recent was this one?
I think maybe a year ago I finished it. Mm-hmm.
I mean, lucky with digital, you kind of get the outline and kind of put it on another spot, and it's a faithful outline to it.
Yeah. That's why I love using my digital to get the outline and everything.
And when it comes to landscapes, what do you find that's difficult about them?
The landscapes, I think just because I haven't done that many, that it's more difficult. And also finding my style within a landscape, because I find that my type of style, I really like the more kind of, I don't know, just more street style. I like bright colors and incorporating cool designs and kind of psychedelic-y looking. So trying to find my own style within a landscape, I've done it, but I just haven't done that many of them. So that's the most difficult part for me, is kind of being able to have my own style. Because I find so many people do landscapes that to stick out and know that's Laura's painting.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. What do you choose to paint when it comes to landscapes? Do you hike a lot? Is there a certain landscape that really stands out to you?
I do go hiking. I pick places that I've been before, that I've taken pictures there before. I did one of Turtle Mountain, which is in Coleman, which is a small town, southern Alberta. That's where my grandpa's from. So I pick places that mean something to me. But I haven't done a whole lot of them, so I'm looking for new places to find and love and paint. But yeah, I've done one in Moraine Lake. I've been there a few times, and it's the most beautiful place in the world, I think. But yeah, I just pick places I've been and I love.
I saw one that had the description of Crow's Nest Pass.
Yeah, that's the Coleman Turtle Mountain.
That's the Turtle Mountain one.
Yeah.
Ah, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah.
You can see that mountain from my grandpa's house, so that one really meant a lot to me.
Brings a little childhood memories.
Yeah. And I still go there all the time. And actually, a lady purchased that one from when I was up at the library, and she was from Coleman, and she was just walking in Calgary through the library and saw that painting, and she knew right away what mountain it was. And
Nice.
Yeah.
Neat. Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to talk to her?
Yeah. And she sent me a picture of it hanging up at her house. And I thought that's so cool that it made its way back to Coleman. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Are there any plans to maybe travel to get some more inspiration? Because Alberta has beautiful landscapes. I feel like I've been all around the province, thanks in part to this show.
Yeah.
I've been, to Lloydminster, Red Deer,
Yeah.
Grand Prairie, Fort Mac, and each one has its own. You don't really think about it. You imagine them all as prairie.
Yeah.
But when you're coming in, when you're driving through them, when you're meeting the people, each one has its own different setting. So I was wondering if there's some sort of landscape from Alberta that calls you, that you want to, paint it.
Yeah.
Like the Drumheller Dunes, for example.
I was just
The
going to say
Hooties.
that. I took my dog for a walk through the hoodoos, and I must have taken probably 100 photos of just different cool aspects of the hoodoos, and then my dog. And honestly, I should look back at those, because I'm sure I could find. I'm big into photography too. I love going out and just taking photos. So
Digital or film?
digital.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just so sure I have so many different landscapes, because I just started doing landscapes too. So I could probably go back in my camera roll and find a lot of cool ones, and even Thailand too. That would also be cool to find landscapes from there as well.
Yeah, nice. Go worldwide, international.
Yeah, for sure.
You say you've shipped them before. You shipped paintings. Has it just been within Alberta?
Nope. I sent one to the US.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the commission for the motorcycle that I
Okay.
did.
Yeah.
And then also I met a girl in Mexico, and she lives in Toronto, and she bought a painting from me, so I shipped one to her. And then just around Alberta. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And they made them safe and sound. Thankfully.
So what's next for you when it comes to future plans? What's the next market? What's the next painting? What's the next project that you're thinking of doing?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm working on that disco ball, so I'm really looking forward to doing these collages.
And is it going to be this big? Is it going to be like a disco ball this big?
It's bigger. It's the same as those. It's the round canvas that I had
Gotcha.
for the landscapes, and it's pretty big. It's gonna be like that.
Wow.
I usually only paint big. I don't really like painting small paintings.
Well, you must have a lot of patience if you're going to paint small.
Yeah. And
Your hands, also a firm hand.
yeah. And yeah, I don't know why, but I've always just been called to do bigger paintings. But for me, I'm just hoping for more small businesses to allow me to have some of my paintings up, kind of go searching around that. I'd love to be in a museum one day. That would be cool. But yeah, just keep doing me, keep creating, and find myself in opportunities to show my art, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible to see just what your progress has been, how you've used digital art, how you've used different aspects to mix them all together, mixed media with these collages, always trying new things, always seeing what else you can create with the patterns as well. Each one, I feel, is very unique. Each one's something new, and it just adds an identity to the painting, and it really makes it stand out.
Oh, thank you.
I think that's got to be part of why Cold Garden chose to display those pictures and why they stood out to me. Well, and because I love dinosaurs.
Yeah. I love that.
No, I'm serious about that. I think it'd be very not niche, but it'd be very, very unique and very just new. Just painting
and it's
dinosaurs.
Very Albertan, which
It
is
is.
awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people in Drumheller would love it.
Yeah.
Would get a kick out of it. Actually, when I went there just earlier this year, the whole town, it's always been like this, but the whole town is filled up with dinosaurs that people have painted. And, you know, they've got these statues all over the town.
Yeah.
But also, it's also filled with murals. There's a ton of murals over there that's just, again, dinosaur related. And we actually based some of the town for a little indie I was shooting in. And when I was looking at the permissions to display some of the dinosaurs, one of them has this giant mural that's just a skeleton of a T-Rex. I don't know if it's size accurate. It looks size accurate to me. It's a pretty big skeleton.
Yeah.
And it covers the entire wall. It's just like a huge rectangular wall. It's just the skeleton of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, something like that.
Yeah.
And when I looked into it, the town itself does sponsor some artists to come and just showcase it, just dinosaur-related art.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And honestly,
They would get a kick out of that, honestly.
Yeah. I'll have to look into it. I love Drumheller. That was the first time I had been there.
What?
Yeah. And
In all your life living in Calgary, that was your first time?
yeah, and I was like, wow, it is.
That's crazy.
I shouldn't say. First time I remember. I think my mom probably had brought me there to the museum and stuff when I was younger, but I can't remember. But this was the first time as an adult, for sure, that I had been there. And it's so beautiful over there, and you're just in the valley, and like you said, all the dinosaur stuff. I love. You can really feel the vibe that this whole town has. So, or city.
Town, city. I don't know, they call everything a city these days.
Yeah.
And aside from painting, you know, what other plans are there for you in the future?
Yeah. I love to travel. So I'll probably plan a trip. I really want to see Japan. That would be really cool. Yeah, I really like to go to places and go to museums in different places. So that's always on my to-do list. But yeah, just work and yeah.
When it comes to gathering inspiration and painting, you know, just painting in general, I wanted to ask you, if the city of Calgary suddenly came to you, knocked on your door and said, Laura, we've got this mural in Calgary who wants you to paint. You have anything, you've got free reign, full creative control. What would you paint and where would you paint it?
I think I would probably do like a Western type feel of maybe like some cowboy boots and like an old skull or something that's kind of with the same sort of flowers kind of growing out from everywhere, and try and like make it similar to my style, and, but then do like kind of a Western Calgary theme. Where I would do it, somewhere near the Stampede maybe, or Inglewood, or I don't know. I can't think of like an actual like building, but I would love to do something like that one day.
That'd be awesome to paint, and the way you describe it fits Calgary very well. Like even when you were telling me the flowers just sprouting up, I was thinking wild rose. Because wild rose country.
Totally. And just and I love how our city lights up during Stampede. Like I love how we all kind of come together, and the vibe of when the city's through Stampede, it's just like our whole city livens up. And so like a mural that kind of portrays that, and then also has like the cool colors and like dynamics of like what I like to do, I think it would be really cool.
Yeah, and the patterns and everything. I mean, you're right about Stampede. When Stampede comes to town, the whole town just comes alive. The whole city comes alive. And it feels like one of those cities where it's open 24/7, where everything's open 24/7, and people are just walking downtown and
everywhere's
enjoying
busy,
it.
And everybody's in a good mood.
Exactly.
And people aren't having to work, like people are getting time off, and you got the parades and the Stampede breakfasts where we can all come together, and you know, all the companies are giving out free breakfasts for people. Like it's a beautiful time.
And good nightlife too.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love Calgary during Stampede. I know sometimes it gets some negativity about it, but for me, it's always a good time when
Maybe we should have winter Stampede. You know, just to liven up winter just a little bit. Winter Stampede and summer Stampede. I feel like that's fair. That's a fair.
Let's just get a big bubble over the Stampede grounds.
A fair way to spend the winter. There you go. Bring up the city again. Having so many experience throughout art, what does success mean to you?
Success means to me. Success means to me that you just never give up and just always go after your goal and stick to it and don't give up. And even your small victories, take those and appreciate them, because then you're always going to be successful if you're working toward a goal and making it happen. So that's very true. And just finding that willingness to keep going, you know. I mean, I've heard the quote that the best fighter, it's not how hard they can punch, but it's how many punches they can take that make you the best fighter. Totally, right? And that's through life, right? You'll get punched down, but as long as you keep going and realize when you are making those small steps forward, and realizing that is success in itself, is just climbing that little ladder of like you don't have to be, you know, the most famous, making the most money or doing that to be successful. It's, you know, just climbing the ladder and getting to your goal and being happy doing it.
Yeah, that's a fair definition. That's a good definition. And I think a lot of people in the audience can agree with that. Before you go, I wanted to ask you one last question, and that's the one that we ask all of our guests.
Okay.
If you had one word to describe yourself, which one would it be?
Hopeful.
Hopeful?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig that word.
Yeah. I would describe myself as hopeful, for sure.
I can definitely see it in your artwork and your willingness to keep going, and just the resilience that comes with it along. And your ability to, again, go back to painting, do other things, come back to painting, always leading you back to what you love, to what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Laura, thanks for being on the show. It was great having you. It was great showcasing your work.
Thank you.
I am delighted that you brought the dinosaur painting.
I know.
That's
Like,
that's been the highlight of the interview.
It has to come.
Getting to see it and everything, and just getting to know your mentality behind the patterns, behind your style, and behind the choices that you make when it comes to your artwork. I think it's very unique, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you. You're the best. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. This has been awesome.
And thank you guys for watching another episode of Authentically Albertan. We'll catch you in the next one. Stay authentic.
Well, and that wraps up another episode of StoryHive On Location Calgary. If you've got a story and want to be featured, don't forget to scan the QR code and apply to be a guest on our show. Stay tuned. See you next time.